You're trying to love this to death, aren't you?
I disagree.
You're not really for giving law enforcement the power to fight back, are you?
I am in favor of giving law enforcement that power and respecting constitutional limits.
I don't believe you, Professor.
Hey everybody, welcome back. We just watched a little snippet of Senator John Kennedy in a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing about the threat of drones. And let me tell you, this is exactly why people get frustrated with Washington. You have a clear real-world danger, drones, being used by criminals and the question is simple. Should our state and local police be empowered to shoot them down and Kennedy starts with a common sense, bad guys use drones, so law enforcement needs the power to fight back. But then you get the legal academics who immediately jump in with 10,000 reasons why we can't do the simple effective thing. They bury the solution under layers of constitutional efficiency that only slow down our. Kennedy is the voice of sanity here, cutting through the legal weeds. Tosk, are you for public safety or are you for complexity? This isn't about ignoring rights, it's about making sure police can act when lives are in danger. Now, we have to make it easy for the good guys to win. Let me know in the comments below. Do you think police should have the immediate authority to take down a hostile drone, or should they have to fill out paperwork first? Hit that like button, subscribe if you want more common sense political analysis, and let's dive into the full video.
The bad guys are using drones. Does anybody disagree with that? Okay. And the federal government has the authority to fight back, does it not? But state, nobody disagrees with that statement? Sure, Professor.
I would say within limits, yes. Within constitutional limits.
Okay. Do any of you disagree with giving state and local law enforcement the authority to fight back?
Again, within constitutional limits.
Okay. Tell me what your constitutional concerns are, Professor.
So I have three primary concerns. The first has to do with the Fourth Amendment and the conditions under which a warrant is required and a general warrant is forbidden by the Fourth Amendment. So in this particular case, it's important.
Professor, before you give me one of your lectures, are you saying that we should require state and local law enforcement to get a warrant before they fight back?
It depends on the condition. So in an exigent circumstance or something along the border.
I'm aware of the exceptions to the warrant requirement. But you, generally speaking, you want to require them to get a warrant.
Only for the search of a device or the seizure of property. There are also due process implications of that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You started to mention another one of your objections.
First Amendment.
First Amendment. Okay. Any others?
Yeah, I also have a state rights, a 10th Amendment concern here, which is that states own the airspace adjacent to the land within their state that's not federally owned, and the current federal provisions don't recognize state sovereignty in that way.
So you want to give state and local law enforcement the authority to fight back, but you want to list a whole lot of conditions. Is that a fair assessment?
Not a whole lot, but some. There needs to be a nexus to the facility. It can't be any drone anywhere in America if you're concerned about a particular facility, but right now it's too broad. There have to be acknowledgments of First Amendment concerns. So for instance, limiting the covered facilities to the experience and logic test with which the courts use for right of public access, or prohibiting media bans across the board, or setting a time limit before and after special events so they don't extend extensively. This is what a number of state measures already do, and I'd like to see that at a federal level and apply to bring this within the constitutional limits.
Sounds like a lot of conditions to me.
No, not very many. As long as there's probable cause and the conditions are met, then absolutely you can.
Have you ever heard of a legislative practice called loving a bill to death?
Yes.
Okay. And that's when you take a bill and somebody says, I'm really for this bill. But then they add so many amendments and they screw it up so badly that the bill either becomes ineffective or doesn't pass. Is that a pretty accurate description?
Of the term?
Yeah.
Yes.
You're trying to love this to death, aren't you?
I disagree.
You're not really for giving law enforcement the power to fight back, are you?
I am in favor of giving law enforcement that power and respecting constitutional limits.
I don't believe you, Professor. Okay? You're not talking to Bambi's baby brother here. Okay? I've read some of your stuff. I think you'd be more intellectually honest if you just come out and say, I'm on the side of the bad guys here. I think we shouldn't give state and local law enforcement the authority to fight back. You're trying to make it as hard as possible, aren't you?
We'll have to disagree on that point, Senator.
No. You know, you ever heard the expression, watch what they do, not what they say? I've watched what you've done. I know what you believe. Well, you're on the FISA court?
I'm not on the court. No, I'm an amicus for the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court and the Court of Review.
Okay. Were you there when you guys issued all those bad warrants against Trump's people?
I can't discuss my work on the court, unfortunately.
Oh, it's top secret, right? You'd have to put me on the American people on double secret probation if you told them the truth, wouldn't you?
No. I can't discuss my matters that I've handled before the court. I can discuss the public ones where I've dealt with First Amendment concerns and the right to petition. I did an extensive history looking at that right
I'm done,
to petition.
Madam Chair.
Senator Kennedy was absolutely in rare form. He did exactly what he does best. He took a complicated, high-minded legal debate and boiled it down to a simple question of common sense. Versus obstruction. The fundamental disagreement here is crystal clear. Kennedy is saying, drones are a threat to critical infrastructure and our communities. One need to give state and local law enforcement the tools they need to act, period. And the professor, bless her heart, immediately throws up the brakes and says, but what about the constitutional limits? Kennedy was right to interrupt her when she started talking about needing a warrant. The Fourth Amendment concern. Before fighting back, you could see his. Think about this logically. A drone is hovering over a crowded stadium or a sensitive facility. That exigent circumstance. You don't call a judge to sign a warrant while a threat is flying overhead. Police must have the latitude to react to an immediate. She keeps insisting on limits, but those limits are precisely what slows down effective security. Then she brings up the First Amendment, free speech, and the 10th Amendment, state rights to airspace. It sounds very intellectual, but in reality, she's stating ridiculous hurdles. Are we really worried about the drone being an act of journalism when it could be carrying explosives or reconnaissance gear for an adversary? Kennedy recognized that those concerns are just academic points designed to kill the bill. The highlight of the whole exchange, without a doubt, was Kennedy bringing up legislative tactic, loving a bill to death. That's exactly what the professor's testimony was doing. Hep pointed out that she's supposedly forging law enforcement authority. She lists conditions, a nexus to facility, limits based on thick experience and logic test, media bans, time limits before and after events that make the resulting law so weak and complicated that nobody can ever use it effectively. He nailed the ultimate. If you make the legislation so complex and riddled with exceptions, you effectively accomplish the same goal as outright opposing it. It's a trickist by those who don't want the solution, and Kennedy called her out on her sincerity. The bottom line, when Kennedy says, I don't believe you, Professor, he's not being rude. He's being honest about the practical effect of her testimony. He's looking at what she does, which is introduce massive amounts of legal complexity, and not what she says, which is claiming she supports law enforcement. The job of Congress is to give police and security services clear, actionable authority to protect us. Their job is not to invent hypothetical conshade nightmares that paralyze law enforcement. Senator Kennedy stood up for common sense public safety, and he exposed the intellectual dishonesty that constantly tries to derail necessary security measures in Washington. Good job, Senator.